Welcome to the Literally First Class podcast, where I will teach you how to overcome anxiety and achieve somatic success. I'm your host, Keri Ford. I'm a somatic success and holistic life coach here to bring humor, insight, and wisdom to the modern day woman that wants to feel alive in her daily life. You ready? Come on, I saved you a seat in first class. I want you to imagine the absolute worst thing about yourself. Like the one thing that you really hate about yourself. I have a crazy tongue. I don't know that I hate that about myself, but I'm definitely self-conscious. It's a geographical tongue, or maybe it's geographic. I think it's geographic. Anyway, it's got like my mom thought I was chewing on razor blades as a child. The papillae on the tongue fall off in different patterns. And so my tongue will literally look different day to day. When I don't feel well, my tongue will get these like circular white marks, but it looks tore up, okay? It's not attractive. You know, if I was being playful and kind of stuck my tongue out at you, you might be like, whoa, what's wrong with your tongue? Sometimes it hurts. It's very sensitive to things. I like spicy food. I like a little kick. Can't go too crazy. Sour, no way. That's like hardcore pain. But I want you to imagine the worst thing about you. The thing that you want to hide. For me, it was my curly hair. I always felt like a mess, right? That definitely was something I show, more. I did my first photo shoot with curly hair last year, actually. But the worst thing about yourself. And now imagine that you sharing that one thing or embracing that one thing. It's not like you have to go on socials and be posting about it. But let's say you fully embrace that one thing, is the very reason people fall in love with you. So the worst thing about yourself is the thing that people love the most about you. What? That's so cool. So a friend of Jake's came to visit us a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us about his sister-in-law, who was this corporate banker turned beauty influencer. Now, you might say, if you saw her, who does she think she is to be a beauty influencer? Because she is not the norm, not the standard. And that's probably why people love her. But she also had people fall in love with her because the one thing she arguably hated about herself since she was a little girl, and the thing that she always wanted to hide, is this birthmark that takes up pretty much her whole face, including part of her eye. Like it's basically her whole face. You would look at her and you might be like, oh my gosh, what happened? But it's just a birthmark. And it takes up most of her face and it has a few colors in it. And so she decided to go all in on becoming a beauty influencer. Now she started, moonlighting and building her side business. I think it was on TikTok or Instagram. Anyway, her reels started to take off because the very thing that she wanted to hide, she chose instead to show to the world, was the thing that people ended up loving her for and following her for. And then she started connecting with people around the world that also have these kinds of birthmarks, because I forget what kind it is, but it's a very specific one. And she doesn't do beauty influencing and makeup to help people hide their birthmarks or to just show before and afters of covering it up and hiding the beauty mark. That's not at all actually what her feed looks like. Her feed is equally as filled with naked face photos, like no makeup, her smiling, birthmark, just full fucking ownership. Like, here I am. And it's beautiful. And there's other videos, of course, with like makeup artistry where she is, doing foundation and all the things. And then I have another example, another friend of mine, his name is Perry Power. He's based out of the UK. And back when I first met him, maybe 4 years ago now, he was doing a podcast with a business partner, and it was something around fitness, and he was feeling a little bit lost. He was just kind of feeling like, I'm sharing part of my pieces of my story and part of this, and I'm over here and I'm over there. And he ended up taking the one thing that you could argue you would take to your grave, and he ended up making it the thing that he shares and leans into. And that was, he was sexually abused as a child by a family member for years. I think it was his grandfather. But I mean, that's one of those things that most people say, I'm taking this to my grave and I'm never telling anybody. Maybe they don't consciously say that either, but they might be thinking it, or they might not feel that they're safe to share. But Brene Brown says that shame needs 3 things to survive. And those 3 things are secrecy, judgment, and silence. And so what did he do? He turned his sexual abuse into an opportunity to break his silence and write a book. And then he shared that message with the world. And then he invited other survivors to break their silence and share their experience of sexual abuse and write a book about that. And that, I've watched him absolutely go viral. I think he had a reel last week go up into the millions, and like celebrities were, liking it. And he was like, whoa, I mean, hundreds of thousands of followers now on Facebook. And this is from a man that had a very low follower count and felt like he was kind of speaking to no one. He was I remember he had a hard time at one point figuring out, like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what do I really want to do? And so imagine taking the one thing that you swear you're going to take to the grave. And I mean, he had at this point done enough healing and personal development work to share that story on some level, but he didn't make it his thing. Now he's made it his thing, and it's what he's known for. And it's, oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. And then there's my former client, Christine Cardenas. She goes by X-Teen. She is a badass. Actually, last week we were catching up on the phone and we were chatting, and she's a personal trainer and a fitness expert. And I've watched her literally go from 4,000 followers-ish last year when we worked together to like over 130,000 last I checked. And I was just like, I am celebrating you so much right now. No, it's not about followers. Like, that's not what I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating that she has impact, that she has influence, that she's helping people in the world. She helps other women lose like 60 pounds plus. 60 to 100 pounds is like her normal transformation that she helps women with. And there are not many people that can do that in transformation. I came from the world of fitness and personal training, and it's incredible. And, I've watched too, equally as many people love her. She's also chosen to lean in and share her story of showing up anyway, even though one could argue that maybe she never felt, fitness ready to show up, right? So you see people on there comment like nasty stuff, like, you're a fat trainer, you shouldn't be giving advice. But can you imagine she didn't share her gifts with the world because she let that take over? Now, that is obviously an insecurity, right? When you're in that world, especially how you look. But she chose to lean in anyway. Shortly after our work together, she went and fucking hired a media crew. And she was like, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to be me louder. And I'm going to like claim my space and take up more of it. And the people that love me are going to love me. And they do. And it's crazy. She's got hundreds of clients and so many more women that are like begging her to work with them. And if you think about it, imagine she had never shared this part of her and let the world in to witness it. People would not be able to see her. She wouldn't be as visible or as viral, and she certainly wouldn't have gone all the fuck in on herself. So it's crazy. I think one of her first reels she told me had, I don't think she'd mind me sharing this, it's 6 million views, and it's up to like 8 million on the reels. The point is, the world feels it when you are being you. And with that, you're going to have people that don't like you for you, because when you stand for one thing, people are going to assume you don't stand for other things. And that's okay. Like, you can filter people out. But the invitation here is to lean in to the discomfort, to show up authentically and do it louder, more boldly, and to be brave to lean in to what that requires. You're going to feel naked. Like, you're sitting in front of maybe millions, right? Like some of these people I've talked about, maybe millions and millions of people that you're just like, I feel absolutely naked. I am literally leaning into my core wound. I'm literally sharing my deepest, darkest secret. I'm literally taking pictures of the one thing that I have always hated about myself. And again, I don't know that beauty blogger, but I'm I'm just kind of dramatizing to get the message through. But I do know, based on her brother-in-law, he said that she didn't love that about her face. And so, yeah, imagine those very things are the things that create impact and influence for you. And the world gets to witness you in that because you chose to let them in. But here's what it's going to require of you, really to break free from that shying away, the shutting down and trying to hide. It's going to require you to heal some of that people pleaser behavior, that fawn response. It's going to have you heal some of the other things that in your body want to have you just do anything but that, to share, to write, to say, to embrace anything but that one thing. And so, when I talk about more, it's not just money. Money is great. But what I'm really talking about is being more of who you already are. Being it louder, being it bolder, being it braver. So more of you is the invitation. And again, I do have a retreat for this. We have a couple of spots. So Made for More is the Somatic retreat. There are 10 other powerhouse women that are going to be there that are also creating world change. And it's a relaxed, luxurious experience that's going to be equally rejuvenating as it is healing. So make sure you go check that out. We'll make sure the link is in the show notes. But at the very least, if you don't take the invitation for the retreat, and I do hope you do, if you feel like I'm speaking to you, or you want me to be speaking to you, that invite is there for you to apply. And the invitation to be all in on authentic you. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Keep it first class.
I hope you enjoyed your flight, and I'll see you on board again soon.
Seriously though, thanks for listening. If you're ready to take this work deeper and upgrade your mind, I want to invite you to join us inside my Millionaire Mindset program. This is where you'll start using my guided meditations to help you overcome anxiety and experience even more abundance. When you join, you'll have access to my entire audio library. Head over to elevatewithkeri.com and we'll see you inside.